Hello and welcome to the Backseat Bible Study. I'm Gayla and I want to talk to you today about the good man and the sinner. In Luke chapter 18, Jesus told a story about two very different men. I'm not going to read it, I'm just going to paraphrase it using current day examples and terminology. But I do encourage you to read it on your own. This series is called the Backseat Bible Study because your own Bible study needs to be in the front seat. I'm just a backseat driver with something to say, hoping and praying that someday someone will hear me from the backseat and change directions. So do read Luke chapter 18 on your own. You can either pause this video right now or afterward when it's done, you can Google it and see if what I've said has been a faithful representation of what Jesus has said. All right, back to my paraphrase. Jesus told a story about two men who went to church for two very different reasons. I'm going to embellish here. It was a beautiful Sunday morning. There was a great song service. There was a fantastic convicting message from the pastor. So these two men walk out of church having sung the same songs and heard the same message, and they both stop to pray on the steps outside the church. I did some web trolling and chose a couple of pictures to represent our men. Here's guy A, the good man. He's handsome, isn't he? Can you see that? He looks like he has a good job, maybe a doctor or a lawyer, something respectable. In reality, he's just a male model selling suits, but he fits the bill because he looks the part. Here's what this guy publicly prays so that everyone can hear him. I'm so glad I'm not like other men. I'm not a con artist. I'm not a thief. I've never cheated on my wife. I give to the poor. I give to my church. And I'm not like that disgusting man over there. Everybody, look how good I am. And he says, thank you, God, that I am such a good man. Now there was another man there at church that day. He also stopped to pray outside the church. Jesus said he was someone who was despised, someone we would not have associated with. He was an outcast. I've chosen this picture to represent him. Can you see that? This is a man with leprosy. This broke my heart when I came across it. I think a lot of us would avert our eyes if we ever met him, because it would be so hard not to stare. Jesus said this man was so burdened by his sin that he would not even dare to lift his eyes to heaven. He felt the weight of his sin, and he bowed his head in humility, beat his chest, and said, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Jesus said that man went home righteous. He went home forgiven, accepted, beloved by God the Father. But the first man, man A, he didn't. Man A was trusting in his own righteousness. He was doing good things, giving to the poor, giving to his church, not being an adulterer or not an extortionist. But that's not what justified him before God. Man B was justified which means to be declared innocent according to dictionary.com, when he acknowledged that he was a sinner and begged God for mercy. Guys and girls, I can tell you from personal experience that man A is pretty happy, because I've been man A. He's cruising through life perfectly content with himself, and he's a pretty good guy. What's not to like anyway? He is happy, but man B has experienced unspeakable joy. Man B knows what it feels like to be forgiven, and it is incredible. I know because I've been man B too. I have felt the weight of my sin, and when that weight is lifted, it is truly indescribable. My prayer for you today is that you carefully consider whether you want to just be happy like the good man, or whether you want to experience this unspeakable joy I just described like the sinner. Because there is a difference. A lot of things can happen that can mess up your personal happiness, but the joy of being forgiven can never be taken away. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time right here on the Backseat Bible Study.